So, of course, guys, I'm talking about my Manfrotto 190X. I always want to call them Manfrotto for some reason. But it's, of course, right now what my camera is sitting on. I'm using a 502AH head, which I will review in another video later on, because I don't want to take it off the base plate right now. But I did want to talk about my experiences with this tripod, because it's kind of it's not entry level, but you know, for most of us, especially like doing reviews, it's more than sufficient. It's nice and light, so it's a good all-around tripod. Maybe not if you're using a heavier camera than what I'm using, which is a Canon XA20. But if you're using a DSLR or something like that, this is a totally acceptable tripod to use. So let's go ahead. I gotta unmount it off of what I'm using now and figure out how to do a review because I got rid of all my other tripods. Oops. Okay, if you want to see the ridiculous way that I have my camera set up and cringe a lot, at TimmyTechTV and check out the tweet from Sunday night. And if it's been a long time from now, it won't mean anything to you. You won't be able to find it. So, that is, of course, the 502AH head. So, the one thing I will say is you need to make sure that, you know, the right head for the right tripod. Obviously, style and size matters. Is it a ball? Is it the, you know, the 1/4 inch or the whatever, you know, size? Match the two, obviously. So there's a few things I really like about this tripod. The first thing is that it's light. So it's not a carbon fiber tripod, but it is really sturdy. I mean, like I can't flex the legs at all, and I've accidentally dropped it before. It's held up extremely well. I like the locking mechanisms. It's nice and easy to adjust them to where you want. The one thing I have found, I have had some that have been easier to basically like offset. So if you wanted to do like, you know, one short and two long, I have had tripods that have been a little easier to adjust. The fact that this is basically either slide or locked, you know, if you don't have really secure hold of it, if you have a camera on it and it's heavy, or even a weight bag underneath it, which you can add to this. I don't have the hook on there right now, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you have to have really, really secure hold of it to support the weight, you know, not so much to pull out a leg, but especially if you're trying to adjust in, you really want to have a hold of the weight to counterbalance it so that you can, you know, finely adjust it. The slide action is really good. I mean, I could probably, you know, lubricate these a little tiny bit. I have found that the middle of the three sections tends to be the sticky one, for me at least. Not honestly any kind of deal at all for me. The legs can adjust, and this isn't a feature review, guys. This is just me talking about what I think of these. The legs can adjust to swing around. So if you want to get like a super macro shot on the ground, you know, you can kick the legs straight out. It also lets you do, you know, if you want to do some like fancy straight down shots, you know, you can get that angle that you want that way. What I would really like though is you can hear it like snap, snap, snap. So when you do this, if I go one click, it won't go back past that click. So another click, can't go past there, right? Third click, that's the 3 limiter. What I'd really like is one more, because what I have found is this is too much spread for me, for how I work. I would really love like one more click, and the thing that would be easy about that is it would let me get all 3 legs to the same spot every time. That's kind of, you know, the big one for me. So, as I alluded to earlier, the center, I don't know, I'm not a photographer, I don't know the terms for things, but basically, your center post, you have an interchangeable little cap gizmo. This one has the ability to hold a hook. It does not come with a hook, or if it does, it's still in the box somewhere. But add weight to the bottom if you want to put sandbags or something underneath this. Say you're out somewhere windy or around a lot of people. Always a good idea to have a sandbag on your tripod, especially if you're toting around some really expensive camera equipment, especially if it's something top heavy. So I guess that we can talk real quick about the heads, why I went with the head I have. And, like I said, I'll do a video on this later. But when I decided to go with this, I went with the video head. Even though my camera is more DSLR weight, I felt like the video head was a little more substantial and would let me, if I ever went up to like an FS7 or something, would grow with me rather than me having to replace it going forward. In hindsight, I kind of wish I would have got the smaller head, and it's an ergonomics thing, but especially with my Canon camera, it's really kind of, not the most interesting to use. The one thing I will say is when you get it locked down tight, it does not move. It is very sturdy, and I've had no wobble in any of my videos with this tripod and that head. Nice thing here, again, with the center post, I use this feature quite a bit actually to get some elevation on shots. And the thing I like the most is when you tighten it down, it doesn't move and it doesn't wobble. Because on this center post, there's like little hex. It's not quite hex, but it's close. But there's like grooves, so it doesn't, it does not move around, and it's very sturdy, especially, holding the weight that it's holding. I was worried that this would move around, and actually it's done an extremely good job. So other features I really like, the rubber grips. I thought that I was going to hate them, and in fact, I wish all three legs had them, because I use them so often when I pick up the tripod that sometimes I grab the back of the tripod. I really just wish it was on all three. They're super nice. They're really tacky. And it makes it, if you're going to pick it up by one hand, which, mileage may vary. But if you're going to pick it up by one hand, like I tend to do, it really is really firm. And I feel very comfortable holding the tripod with one hand. I'll put the link to the website, the Manfrotto website, down below if you want to look at the specifications. I'm not going to try to quote them off the top of my head. Like I said, I am not a camera expert. I am not a photographer. I'm just telling you, as a YouTuber that wanted to upgrade his tripod, I really, really like this tripod setup. So the last thing I'll say is feet not self-leveling, but I don't use this outdoors. I only use it on carpeted or hardwoods or stuff like that. They are tacky, so they don't slip around, and they do a perfectly fine job. What can I say? It does absolutely everything I want. If I was traveling, I would go with the expense of buying the carbon fiber one, just from the fact that it would be lighter and easier to tote around. But if you're just looking to upgrade your game at home and need or want a much higher quality tripod, check out the 190X. I've loved it. I've had it for, over 6 months now. Love it, love it, love it. Guys, this is Tim for TimmyTechTV. Stay tuned. I'm going to do a 502AH review, mostly talking about the ergonomics of the head and things I like and dislike about it. Same thing with this. I'm not a photographer. This is not a review telling you a photographer's experience. This is a review telling you what I think about the product that I bought in this case. I thought there was enough for me, especially with the tripod, to talk about, what things I like, what things I don't like. And I definitely would suggest, if you look in the market for a tripod, don't cheap out. Go look at least a 190X. This is kind of the more cost-effective ones. I wouldn't go lower than this. I was not happy with the lower end of the Manfrottos. So that's up to you. But this is where I felt like good bang for the buck and that I was going to use for years. But like I said, this is Tim for TimmyTechTV. Guys, make sure you check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And until next time, see ya.